We are the I.S.U.P.K. out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahanna. I am Priest and Officer Barriat, holding down the history class for Priest and Officer Makwa Kobal. We apologize for the late start. We had a little technical difficulties. So we're going to get into today's topic, preparing for perilous times. As you know, basically, these are perilous times that we're living in. You're seeing the release of the plagues that the Lord talk about in the book of Revelations. We're seeing uprising of the people all across the globe. And we know these are the things that have been prophesied for thousands and thousands of years in the scriptures coming to pass. So basically, as a people, we must make preparation for the changing times. And if you didn't make preparation before, now is the best time to make that preparation. So we're going to go into the scriptures and get the history of what we forefathers would have do in similar times when they faced similar circumstances. And also we're going to go into a video from the head of Israel today, which is Commanding General Yahanna, and some of the tips that he leave with all Israel, basically to beef up the security of your home, beef up the security of the schools, and keep the children of Israel safe in these perilous times that we're living in. So, the first scripture you're going to give me is Proverbs 30, 24 and 20 to 25.
Proverbs chapter 30, verse 24. There be 4 things which are little upon the earth, but they are exceedingly wise.
Right, you understand? So we're going to go into the first are the 4 things that is exceedingly wise. You understand? And this is from the book of Proverbs. As we know, King Solomon was the wisest king that ever lived, right? And we're going to go into the advice that he would have left for us. Go ahead, verse 25.
Verse 25. The ants are a strong, yet they prepare their meat in the summer.
You understand? So he's saying the ants is a people not strong. You're giving you a comparison of the ants. And what they do, they prepare the meat in the summer. They don't prepare it in the winter. Meaning they don't wait until everything frozen, you understand? Everything in a bad state to make the preparations. When things good is when they make the necessary preparations for the winter. You understand? And we too had to watch for the signs in life and make the necessary changes. So we're going to go into the scriptures. We're going to see what we forefathers did in perilous times. And as Paul said, the things are for time or written for learning. You understand? We're going to learn from it, and we're going to make the necessary changes that we need to make to protect both the nation and we immediate family, we immediate household. Give me the book of Ecclesiastes, 1, 9, and 10.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. The thing that had been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun.
Go ahead.
Verse 10. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of the old time, which was before us.
Right. You understand? So he letting you know that there's no new thing under the sun. You understand? Right now, we facing a pandemic. In times past, we forefathers would have faced pandemics before. They would have faced famines before. They would have faced wars before. You understand? There's no new thing under the sun. Right? And there's nothing that could be said that this is a new thing. It had been done in times past. Right? So it's important that we understand this, and just like we forefathers and them would have make preparations, we also have to make the necessary preparations so that we don't get caught with we pants down. Because a lot of us had the mentality, we just wait until everything fall apart, then to make the necessary preparations. When you could have made the preparations from before and safeguard your family. Give me 1 Thessalonians 5, 1 and 4. So it's important that we hold on to this in these perilous times. The greatest book, you understand, the greatest collection of history that we forefathers left for the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Go ahead.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you.
Right, go ahead.
Verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord is cometh as a thief in the night.
You understand? Read that again.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord is cometh as a thief in the night.
You understand? So if it come in as a thief in the night, don't be like the foolish virgins and them. You understand? Who know that the Lord coming. You understand? And they think they could predict it now. But he's telling you here in the scripture, you're going to come like a thief in the night. And they do nothing. You understand? And the 5 wise virgins make preparations, the necessary preparations, because they know that the Lord coming again. You understand? So when you see the signs and them in the scriptures playing out today, you understand? You are to use wisdom like the 5 wise virgins in the parable that Yahweh left for us and make the necessary preparations. Go ahead.
Verse 3. For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Right, you understand? When they say peace, just like with the coronavirus, what they say, peace, we have a vaccine, you understand? Now we only hear new strains popping up. African strain, the Brazilian strain, the Brazil strain, you understand? They're not sure that they have a hand on what is being unleashed by the Lord. And bodies continue to fall day by day by day. When they say peace in America, you see rioting amongst the people. You understand? No certainty at the time. It had nothing in this time that you could say, well, this going this way or this going that way. You understand? No certainty at this time. So that is why it's important to make the necessary preparations. Go ahead.
Verse 4, but you brethren are not in the darkness, that they should overtake you as a thief.
Right, you understand? You're not in darkness like the people in the world. You understand? So this, his coming again shouldn't catch you off guard. Perilous times shouldn't catch you off guard. You understand? You are to make the necessary preparations on the spiritual side by keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and on the physical side by making the necessary adjustments to your home, going in to prepare for the winter, part 1 and part 2, from Commanding General Yahanna, watching it over a couple times, and seeing the necessary adjustments that you need to make to secure your family. Right, so we're going to go into one of our forefathers on them here now, and going into a situation that he faced that was just as perilous as the times that we face now. And that was way back in the book of Genesis. So you're going to give me Genesis 41, and we're reading from 12 down to 36.
Genesis chapter 41 and verse 12. And there was there with us a young man and a Hebrew servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dream. To each man according to his dream, he did interpret.
Right, you understand? So these are the captains of the guards in Egypt, basically telling Pharaoh about this young man, because Pharaoh had a dream that was bothering him. Right? So he wanted it interpreted, and none of the people wasn't able to interpret it. So he turned to one of our forefathers, which is Joseph. So we starting here. For time, we're breaking it down shorter that it could fit within the time period due to the technical difficulties that we had earlier on, so that we could go through the story and understand what we forefather did and apply the same thing that he did back then in this time. Go ahead.
Verse 13. And it came to pass as he interpreted to us, so it was me he restored unto my office, and him he hung.
Right, go ahead.
Verse 14. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon, and he saved himself and changed his raiment, and came in unto Pharaoh.
Go ahead.
Verse 15. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee that thou can understand a dream to interpret it.
Right, go ahead.
Verse 16. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. The Most High shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace.
Right, you understand? So you see how humble the forefather was. He didn't take the praise for himself, he gave all the praise to the Most High. You understand? Not like some of these Christian pastors and them who just praise themselves. You understand? And show themselves when there's really nothing. You understand? They're not even learned in the scriptures. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, In my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river. Verse 18. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine flat-fleshed and well flavored, and they fed in the meadow.
In the meadow.
In the meadow.
Go ahead.
Verse 19. And behold, 7 other kind came up after them, poor and very ill favored and lean fleshed. Such I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness.
All right, go ahead.
Verse 20. And the lean and the ill flavored kind did eat up the first 7 fat kind.
Go ahead.
Verse 21. And when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill favored as at beginning. So I awoke.
Right. You understand? So this dream was troubling him. You understand? He couldn't understand the dream. It was troubling him. So he was asking the interpretation of the forefather. And you would see as we go down in the scriptures that through the power of the Most High, the forefather interpreted the dream. Go ahead.
Verse 22. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 heirs came up in one stalk, full and good.
Go ahead.
Verse 23. And behold, 7 heirs withered, thin and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them.
Go ahead.
Verse 24. And the 10 heir devoured the 7 good heirs, and told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me.
Right. You understand? So he told it unto his people, and they couldn't understand the dream. So he had to come to one of the children of Israel to get the understanding of the dream. Go ahead.
Verse 25. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. The Most High had shown Pharaoh what he is about to do.
You understand? So he letting him know that the Most High is the one that sent him that dream, and the Most High is going to let him know what is going to take place in the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
The 7 good kind are 7 years, and the 7 good heirs are 7 years. The dream is one.
Go ahead.
Verse 27. And the 7 thin and ill-favored kind that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty years blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 28. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What the Most High is about to do, show it unto Pharaoh.
Go ahead.
Verse 29. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt.
Right.
Verse 30. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt.
Right. Right. You understand? So what he's showing you here, that 7 good years coming, we will have plenty food. And after that 7 years will be 7 years of hardship. You understand? So it's just like these times on them. You understand? I wouldn't even say these times is good times. These times is hard times. And because we know that this book is being fulfilled right now, and when we're going into scriptures like the book of Revelations, which is the last book in the Bible, we see it just getting worse and worse. You should already know what coming next. You understand? From hard times to worse times. You understand? It's not going to get better. The only way it's going to get better is in your mind from the lies in the Christian church. You understand? Because they're teaching for money. You understand? Like the scriptures say, they heal the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying peace, peace, when there's no peace. You understand? The Lord prophesied war, he prophesied pestilence, he prophesied famine. You understand? And you already see these things and them coming to pass. Just the little coronavirus that take place, not even a year, we in basically a year into the coronavirus, and you're done seeing problems for shipments of food all across the world. You understand? The normal quota that we are accustomed getting, it coming short. And as time roll along and the pandemic roll along, it will become shorter and shorter. You understand? So you must make the necessary preparations. As we're going into the story, we're going to see what we forefather did by the guidance of the Most High. Go ahead.
And the famine shall consume the land.
Go ahead.
Verse 31. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous.
Go ahead.
Verse 32. And for that the dream was doubled into Pharaoh's twice. It is because the thing is established by the Most High, and the Most High will shortly bring it to pass.
Right. You understand? So you show him it in two different forms. You understand? And you let him know, based on how you get this will surely come to pass. The Most High done set, this is what you're going to do. You understand? So since he done set that, it's just for you to make the necessary preparations. It's just like the book. This book is already set. You understand? The book of Revelations is already set. The book of Ezra is already set. And all the things on them that is say have to come to pass, will come to pass. And since you know it will come to pass, the only thing that you could do is make the necessary adjustments to secure you and your family until the Most High is ready to take all you off of this plane and bring all you back in another time. You understand? Because reincarnation is real. You understand? So this is the important thing that we need to know. These things in the book must come to pass. Christians will be praying for peace. They are mad people. You understand? Because you cannot go against the word of the Most High. If he said this is going to happen, this is going to happen. You understand? So you must make the necessary preparations to protect your family, your nation, your household. Go ahead.
Verse 33. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
Verse 34. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 50 part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 35. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities.
Right. You understand? So we forefather was basically advising Pharaoh is to be proactive and not reactive. Reactive is waiting until winter come to realize you're cold and you need to warm yourself and warm your family and get the necessary things that you need to get. Proactive is knowing that these things on them coming and putting the necessary steps on them in place. You understand? So this is what he was letting Pharaoh know. You understand? You had to take some proactive steps because these things on them surely come into pass. Go ahead.
Verse 36. And that the food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine.
Right. You understand? So if you don't take these steps, you're surely going to die. You understand? Because that's what famine is do. Famine is kill. You understand? So you letting him know, be proactive, and you can live through this. But if you don't be proactive, you surely die. Give me, you're dropping down to 45. Genesis 41, same 41, going down to 45, down to 51.
Genesis chapter 41 and verse 45. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphanat Paneah, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
Verse 46, and Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh the king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 47, and in the 70th years the earth brought forth by handful.
Go ahead.
Verse 48, and he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities, the food of the field, which was round about every city, laid he up in the same.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 49, and Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea, very much until he left numbering, for it was without number.
You understand? So it was so much that he makes sure and take the necessary portions and store it up. Like old people will say, when rain falling, pour out your bucket. You understand? So you make sure and put away for the perilous times that was prophesied to come. And just like the Bible, which is being played out in these times, moving forward, you know is worse times going to come. You need to be proactive, just like before Father Joseph. You understand? And utilize the funds that you have to put the necessary things in place to secure you and your family. You understand? And if every Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian really tap into the story and apply it, even though it way back from the time of Genesis, this same strategy that we forefather using here could work perfectly today. Go ahead.
Verse 50, and unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the year of the famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bare unto him.
Go ahead.
Verse 51, and Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for the Most High said, he had made me forget all my toils and all my father's house.
Right. So you're jumping down now to verse 53, and we go into 57.
Genesis chapter 41 and verse 53. And the 7 years of plenteous that was in the land of Egypt were ended.
Right. Read that again.
Genesis chapter 41 and verse 53. And the 7 years of plenteous that was in the land of Egypt were ended.
You understand? So, just like he prophesied 7 good years and 7 years of famine, that time period that he gave you to be proactive will come to an end. You understand? This life is seasons. It has had good seasons, and then after the good seasons, bad seasons has come. So we know as a people, while the good seasons are them running, we got to make the necessary adjustments. So that when the bad seasons on them come, you understand, we could stand firm. But if we do that, then we surely perish. Go ahead.
Verse 54. And the 7 years of Derek began to come according as Joseph had said, and the Derek was in all land. In all the land of Egypt there was bread.
Go ahead.
Verse 55. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, go unto Joseph what he said to you do.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 56. And the famine was over all the face of the earth. And Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians. And the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt.
Right. You understand? So, proactiveness, basically, now in the hard times, because he had put away in the good times, he now could have come out in the hard times now and feed the people of Egypt. And as you go along in the story, of course, we wouldn't go through everything because of time tonight, but his proactiveness with the Most High basically give him that guidance, you understand? He was even able to save his own family because his own family ended up falling in that famine as well too. And he was able to give them food also to make them survive this famine. Go ahead.
Verse 57. And all the countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all the land.
You understand? So all the countries on them had to come unto this wise man that put away in the rainy days, so that in the days when it dry, he could have bring out his buckets filled with water. You understand? So this is one of the oldest stories in the scriptures, and is a lot that we could take from it and apply it in this time. You understand? The things aforetime were written for our learning. We could learn a lot from this story here. And right now, that is what we should be doing. We shouldn't wait until a civil war break out, because they have food shortage in the country, and the East Indians and them fighting against the children of Israel. You understand? And all the heathens and them team up against the children of Israel, and things difficult and things hard. And you ain't put necessary things in place, not only to feed your family, but to secure your household. You understand? Now is the time for you to make them adjustments while things still fairly normal. I wouldn't even say normal, but fairly normal. At least you could move around and you could get food in the grocery and things like that. And you could buy stuff in the hardware. You understand? Now is the time for we to make them necessary adjustments and be proactive and not reactive. Right? So you could go to the first video. Prepare for the winter part 1. We're going in a little bit into the current leader of Israel, commanding General GEN.YAHANNA. And just like Joseph, he full of wisdom, and he also left 2 videos for you people to make the necessary adjustments. Called Prepare for the Winter. Of course, is not a physical winter he talking about, because Christians on them does see things literal, even though it may be, the advice from it may be good for you to prepare for actual winter. It's good also for you to prepare in life. You understand? For when that cold and dreaded season come. Go ahead.
I'll let you for a quick second on a couple of things like we talked about on Monday night. You know, it's time for us to get ready. It's time for just at this particular time. This don't mean this is the full end and we going all into it, but we should be preparing now that we at this stage, and because we don't know what's going to happen with this silly ass virus nonsense and what they have planned. So all the experts are predicting that it's going to get really, really bad out here. That it's going to be, you know, worse than it was the last time. The food shortages, the meat plant, the needs for so many stuff, masks, you know, bleach. You heard, you know, you remember all them that went bad before. Well, they're expecting it to go bad again, and this time to be a lot worse, including more violence, including more riots, including more, anarchy from now right on into November. And then, of course, they'll have the election, and we'll see what happens. They're talking about coming out with a virus, with a vaccine in December, blase blim blam. We'll see what goes down, you know what I'm saying? But, we'll follow whatever the Lord say. And so now it seems like it's around that time when we need to just get it all and get it on, you know what I'm saying? So, let's go through a couple real quick scriptures if we could. Just to back it up, one scripture real quick to back it up, Proverbs 6:6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. And that's what we're doing. We ain't going to be the sluggards. We're going to be wise in this time and prepare our people. Big shout out to Officer Yashamar out in Dallas, Texas. Did an amazing job, put a full report together for me on everything that's going on. I'll probably post this report on Facebook and probably in the community and YouTube. It's about 13 pages. It's an exhaustive report, okay? But, some things will take priority over others. Some things was also recommended that FEMA believes you should have. I'll be pointing out some things. So let's just check it out, all right? First of all, water. They want you to have water. You got to have water. Experts say 1 gallon per person per day. You want it to last. You want to be in the range, in this case, of about 12 weeks. You want to have about a 12-week run, because it's going to really probably, if it goes the way they predicted, and I don't have to, but if it goes the way they predicted in September, October, November, that's going to be your big hitters. Might be roll into December, January, February before it all starts to taper off in March. So it could be anywhere from 3 months to 6 months. You want to prepare 3 months if you can on the things that you need. So I'm just going to mention a few. Again, I'll post the list and everybody can go on and check it out. I'm not calling it as the end of the world. Don't nobody trip out on this. But things in America are changing. That much I can tell you. Things are changing with the empire, in that the empire is starting to shut down. I said this before. They're trying to transition into another empire. They finished with the old empire. Now they're ready to start a new empire because they know they're going into the space age. They want to consolidate the planet. They don't want all these different factions, but there's nothing they can do. The biblical prophecies are the biblical prophecies. That's their plan. But the plan of the Lord is He's going to bring all these kingdoms to their knees. So, a couple of things. Water. You want 1 gallon a day for each person in your household. All right? If you can do it for 15 days, perfect. You can do it for 30, even better. Don't get crazy with it. Don't turn into a hoarder. Don't bug out. But just do it, quickly as you can, without, too much madness going on. Non-perishable meals. Again, I'll publish the list. I'll go into them. But you want a lot of non-perishable meals. You want things that you can eat. Rice, beans, pasta, oats. Stuff like that. You want also stuff like dry milk, things of that nature. Dry milk. You want those canisters that you make lemonade and juice out of from the powder. All of that stuff is non-perishable. Put them in the right containers. Take them, if you can, take them out of any cardboard containers. Put them in glass or preferably some type of plastic container where if it falls, it don't break. You can always go back, keep it semi-fresh. Always get all that at the dollar store, Walmart. Get your perishable, your non-perishable stuff. Cans. That's also not a quick perishable food. You want to stock up on your cans. Canned fish, canned meat, canned vegetables. Whatever you can do sensibly with cans. Make sure it's something that you eat. They always want you to know that. You want something that you can eat. Try to store up on it. Start looking at 3 months. Because it's going, if it slides, it goes the way they're saying, it's going to slide into all kind of madness, man. But you don't want to go into panic mode and madness mode. The Lord is with Israel, so you're going to be delivered up out of here. It's just going to be a battle, that's all. So you want that. You want a crank radio if you can get it. Again, I'll go through the full list. We'll talk a little bit more. Crank radios are those little radios you see in them survival stores and in those military style stores, and they crank up. Okay, they use hand crank generated power. So you spin it, charge it up, and they give you some time to listen to the radio. It's very important because when they had the hurricane up there in Staten Island, when the Lord destroyed all them homes and all that out there, they had food supply centers set up right outside the area, but people were in the house after the disaster and didn't have radios, so they didn't even know there was food and water piled up waiting for them right outside. You want them radios to know what's going on, you know what I mean? You want to be able to do that. You also want to have, if you can get it, General Cabal always kept a couple of these around, and those are those mini solar powered generators where you can hook up a USB and hook up your cell phone to it. Okay, that's also a big plus. A cell phone can even beat out the crank radio because the cell phone can, of course, can go to multiple websites, multiple radio stations. If you got iHeart or one of those, chances are the internet's going to be functioning because they'll be bouncing it off the satellite. If you can get one of those little handheld, solar powered chargers, then you jack your phone in, run it when the sun is out, let it charge up, you're good to go, and it charges up. Many of them have a battery in the charger, so that even if it ain't no sun out that day, you can use the battery on the charger that's already charged up. Very, very good to have with your cell phone. Even an old cell phone that's off is good if you can get some Wi-Fi at the time. No guarantees, because if it really get bad, they might start doing intermittent power just to cut the power down. They may cut the cable off. Anything could happen in this type of stuff. So we're just doing a little preparation, man, to be on top of all of that. So that's where you want to be. You want your non-perishable foods. You want your water. Of course, if you're in an apartment, you can't do as much as you could do if you were not in one. But you want to be able to store some stuff up and have what you need. You want to also freezers. It's very important if the power stays on. It's important to have those freezers if you're going to prepare. If you want to hold on to meat, the freezer is your first line because you got your meat, you got your vegetables. Now, if the freezers go down, of course, you will lose that meat and those vegetables. But if it doesn't go down and it just gets like it was last time, at least you got your freezer with meats and vegetables in it. It's probably a good thing to have. If you even better, you'll have a generator. Okay, you'll have a generator, and the generator can back up your freezer. Then you're really in good shape. Unless you have a terrace that you can put that generator outside, because them fumes will put you down if you play game too. There is a gas conversion kit that they have for generators. If you got gas in your house, like a gas stove or something like that, and you can get a generator, you can get this kit. It's cheap. It's like $20. Might need some hoses or something, a little instruction manual. You can hook it up to a gas generator and jack in your gas hose, and your gas hose will run that generator. And you won't have to run out to get gas. You don't have to run out and do any of that. You plug it right in just like it's plugged into your stove, always ready when you need it. You plug it right into your generator, crank the generator up, it runs off the gas. You can run everything in the house all 24/7. Of course, you're going to get a big-ass gas bill, but that's down the line. At least you're out of the danger that you need at that time. So looking at that, I'll be posting little stuff in the YouTube channel and community posts and different areas, you know what I'm saying, little products we find. General Q, Officer SHALAM, who put our master list together, he'll probably be posting some stuff too. And other brothers and sisters too, you know what I'm saying. Let's don't get crazy with it. Don't make it our own focus. I know a lot of y'all is, full out ready for the end of the world. Y'all can't wait till the kingdom shut down, but I don't get your hopes up too high. This might just be a simple phase we got to deal with at this time. So I want you to be prepared, ready, up in the spirit, ready to do it, okay? So that's what you do with that. You want to have a first aid kit, something that most people don't put together. And a first aid kit doesn't have to be that elaborate. You can build your first aid kit with a small bunch of items over time that you get right out of the CVS or the Walgreens or the Walmart. Okay, you can go on YouTube and see first aid kits, what you need. You need some ACE bands, of course, if somebody gets bruised or hurt. You want to have that. You want to have some, some A&D ointment, some antibiotic ointment if you can get it. You want some painkillers. You want painkillers. Somebody get hurt, or you get hurt, or you get sick, or something like that. You want some painkillers on hand. Another thing too, about your prescriptions. If you have prescriptions that get refilled, it's probably a good time now to go in and get your prescriptions refilled, even if you haven't run out of what you already have, if they allow you to get it. Sometimes they allow you to get it depending on how serious it is, because you want to be ahead. Because remember the last pandemic, the pharmacies were in gridlock with people trying to get pills, and a gazillion Edomites are on those opioids. So they're going to be bombarding these pharmacies for all kinds of drugs. So now's the time, if you want some kind of prescription blood pressure medicine or something like that, see if you can go in and get your prescription filled. See if you can get the refill fills. A lot of times you can just call in, ask for the refill. They'll pull it up, see that his refill is acceptable. They'll issue it. You can go on down there and pick it up. Even though you might not have finished that first bottle, check to make sure you're doing everything legal with that, though. I don't think you can do that with every medicine. So just, check with your doctor or your pharmacist to make sure it's good. But if you can do it, you can be a little bit ahead of the game. It's a good thing if you don't have to wait till you down to your last 3 pills before you got to go get another bottle. It'd be nice if you could have 15, 20 pills, and then you order in your next bottle, and then you staying on your regimen. Of course, don't abuse your medications for those of you that are on them, you know what I mean? So you want to do that along with having that first aid kit, some peroxide. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these sisters out here, especially in the truth, they know all the stuff you need. A lot of sisters that been raising children, they all up in the spirit. They know already everything you need. That peroxide, that rubbing alcohol, Vaseline. You need all that. In a couple ACE bands, this, that. Different stuff like that. Couple braces if you need a brace or use a brace. You want all of that. Also, going back to the water, if you can, everybody can't do this, but if you can, you want to get you a small purifier. If you can get a small, even the kind that come in a bottle for them camping trips. Okay, if you can, it's nice to get you a nice Berkey. Them Berkeys is amazing because they got fluoride filters and carbon filters. You can damn near put mud water in them, and the water will come out clean enough for you to drink. So if you can, but then they got smaller ones that are, for camping, and them things are good. Even the pills are good. They got the pills where you throw it in the water and it kills everything in the water. Those are okay. The filters are better, but it can't be just a particle filter. You need a charcoal filter to filter out all of the real bad stuff, and that's good just in case things go south or get lax. Over time, the municipalities can get lax, where even the water coming in through the pipe, which is already probably bad, can get even worse. You know what I'm saying? And even in that type of situation where you can't just run to the doctor because things are locked down, you want to be more careful not to drink something that's going to get you sick and upset and put you down. So, of course, if you can have some type of water filtration in the crib, now's the time to get it. Once again, you don't got to turn into a prepper and board up the house and have, backpacks lined up across the ceiling and start bubbling. But you want to be just prepared for, a long-term issues as things progress, because we got to see a lot of the nonsense that took place the last time. And if it goes the way they say it's going to go, or could go, we could end up in 3 months to 6 month lockdown, which is a long ass time. 3 months drove people crazy. They go another 3 months, is going to drive people crazy. 6 months would be insane. So, let's see how it goes. And then, a lot of asthma, a lot of influenza, a lot of flu is going to be going around on top of all of that. Now they're finding out kids are getting it and all this other stuff. So it's a good time to be on top of it. You can have some antibiotics in the crib just as a backup. If they allow you to, you have a prescription for some. It's always good to have some on hand. You know what I'm saying? If anything else, that you can have is good to have. You know what I mean? Tell you another thing that you should have. And I noticed with the floods in Houston. Also, big shout out to Captain Kahan from Yard putting together the funds and getting the boats, man. After the Houston floods, Captain Kahan was working on metal boats, small boats for rescue. Incredible brother, incredible work he's doing down there with the brothers in Texas. In Houston, a lot of people were stuck up on their roofs, stuck up in the attic because the houses was flooded. So when brothers and sisters is coming through, or you want to know who's around, just being up in an attic while a flood is going on and it's quiet out because nobody's moving is a very, very eerie thing. It's a weird, eerie feeling. And you feel extremely vulnerable because there's water coming up to the ceiling down there, and you got no doors up there. Anybody can float on in on some water and come into your house. So it's a very uncomfortable feeling. A lot of brothers and sisters were very stressed over it. So this is a suggestion. Get you some whistles, man. Metal whistles, preferably. Go down to the kids' store, the Toys R Us, if they still around, or whatever. Walmart, get you a little hand set of whistles with the string. So if things get crazy out here, you can throw a whistle over your neck. When something go down, you lift the whistle up, and people can hear you. Somebody get near the house, you can blow that whistle, they can know what's going on, just so you ain't got to pull you know what or who you know who. You know what I'm saying? That whistle could help out. Just to have. These are one-time things that you could have now. You don't got to worry about them no more. You put them up, you maintain them, you forget about them, you get them when you need them. You know what I mean? And what's beautiful, let me tell you what's beautiful about all of this. What's beautiful about this is the Lord is moving us out of the spirit of the entertainers of this kingdom. Like this little sect, I mean, we might go back to it temporarily. But for right now, what is beautiful and positive about this that you can look at is that the Lord is shunning on us being the dancers and singers and sports figures. He's shunning on it, meaning he's shutting that down somewhat. And as he starts to shut that down, he's making us start to look at the real things in life that you need. Like as time's going on, ain't nobody trying to go out there and get a bunch of carnal things. Now you're starting to look at things that are really necessary for you. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing because we done played in this kingdom for them for the longest. We done been the buffoons and the clowns and the everything else that we could be. I watched, I ain't even going to tell you about it, but it was horrible. I'll probably bring it out on the show. My point being, it's a good thing that we now taking life a little more serious. Now you're going to understand why brothers and sisters in the UBK always were so laced up boots and always on a semi-militant state, because we always knew in this biblical prophecies that these things were getting ready to come to pass. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I'm going to get it. First, let me get it. Hold on, y'all. Let me read one right quick if I could. All right. Bear with me one quick second if I could. All right. Bear with me one second, fam. All right. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall have no escape. That's such a good scripture there. For when this kingdom really starts to look like it's peace and safety, and they start bringing it together, the Most High going to bring sudden destruction on them. And that's exactly what happened with the coronavirus. They were in the height of the Trump campaign. The economy was rocking. White supremacy was on the rise. Trump was talking about there was good people on both sides. The economy was bumping. They started the Space Force, a fifth column to the military. They just was on the rise, and then bang, the coronavirus came, sudden destruction. In 3-4 months, the whole empire was shut down, coast to coast, all over the world. The Lord brought that empire down. You know what I'm saying? And travail upon a woman with child, and that's a heavy point too, because that coronavirus came down on the empire just like a woman getting a sudden pain when she's having a child. And metaphorically, It was the Lord showing us that it was a pain that was to move us closer to that deliverance of Christ. What you see is going on with the coronavirus is a step closer to that deliverance that Christ is about to bring. That was another sign or another pain of the birth that's getting ready to come forth, or the return of Yahweh and the rulership of the kingdom. That was a step closer to it. And so that's why it was so on point in the grand scheme of things, all right? So, of course, you need dust masks. And another thing, too, about the freezers, even if you believe that you have enough room in your house freezer, if you can get a small freezer and maintain it, it's a good idea. Not for you only, but for your brothers and sisters. It's going to be a lot of brothers and sisters in distress that's going to need places to store food up. I'll take y'all out to see the refrigerated truck and how we preparing. Our big shout out to General SHALAM, getting ready to start shipping the meat that you saw General Muhammad. Big shout out to General Muhammad. Went out and got down with Captain Kahan and the brothers in Texas and secured the different avenues for us to bring meat across the country to feed our people and get everybody right. So they're working on that, and they're going to have that moving. And of course, I always work with the refrigerated system, so that stuff is going to come together, and everything is looking very good with that. I'll take y'all out, let y'all check that out. So it's good to have that, okay? Of course, dust masks. Dust masks and half-face respirators. Half-face respirators are those masks you see cats that when they painting, they got those masks with the two filters on the side. Those are half-face respirators. If you can get one of those or a few of those, it's good to have. You know what I mean? Just to stock up. The dust masks are good. The dust masks are nice, but the half-face respirators are for serious business. That's when you start when they they're hitting on airborne stuff, fires, smoke coming everywhere. Half-face respirators perfect for that. Perfect for chemicals that get spilled. Perfect when you use too much bleach or something go down when people can faint. You got a half face, slap it on with a good filter on it. Pick out the right filters. You got filters that stop vapors and all of that. And it's good to invest in one for 30 or 40 bucks. You know what I'm saying? You could really have some good protection from something that could happen. Once again, it's a $40 investment. You throw it up in the bin or the backpack or the whatever bag, and you're done. You ain't got to think twice about it, all right? Next going down the list is duct tape. Let me tell you something. Duct tape and plastic, I know this from just, being in situations. Duct tape can save everybody's ass once or twice, a lot of it. Duct tape is, key. If you have a couple rolls of duct tape, you can almost fix almost anything. If you really want to step it up, get you a can of 3M spray glue. You get the 3M spray glue, you get the dust mask, you could damn near, hang a car from the ceiling if you wanted to. Duct tape is extremely good for that. And here's what it's good for as well. And this is why you want to get plastic. You go to a Home Depot or Lowe's, and they got the plastic drop cloths. Get the heavy-duty plastic drop cloths. They're $3 a pop. Some of them is 20 feet long. You get one or two of those. You got some nice plastic. I think it's 1 mil or 2 mil plastic. You get that plastic, then somebody throws something through your window, some gunshots go off, something break a glass, somebody smash a glass somewhere. You got some plastic that's not going to rip as quick as a garbage bag. You got some duct tape. You can repair that situation and get it moving. You may have to partition off something in an emergency or some other situation like that. You'll be able to do that. You can do that, and you can, keep it moving from there without an issue. So duct tape is good to have. Throw a couple in the basement, dig yours up if you have them. Put that together, you know what I mean, and get that plastic with you. Like I said, you want to really get down, you get you a can of spray glue, and that'll make the duct tape. Sometimes you put duct tape on something that doesn't stay that well, or with the spray glue, you spray it, give it about 10 seconds before you put the duct tape on, lay the duct tape on it, and brother, it'll seal like you never sealed something before. Very good if you got leaks in the house this winter. You stuck in the house hours on the time. You got drafts, mold trying to get in because you got a draft somewhere. Boom, you can roll with that and seal that up. You'd be surprised. You can wrap yourself in it if you need to. You get stuck outdoors or stuck in a situation in the car. You know what I mean? I've been on the road, especially up in Ohio, where they had, Ohio is a lot of flatlands going through Ohio in 95. And so when a storm comes through, it lays everything down. It don't be up in the mountain. So as it lay everything down, it shuts down the whole highway. And the people in passenger cars get wiped out. And they get wiped out because, of course, the passenger car can only run but so long on fuel, and there's no real room for bed. If you got 3-4 people in a car, you're in a bad situation, especially if you don't have a refrigerator or anything. And plastic can help you in that type of situation. It's not the ideal situation, but it can help you. You know what I mean? Also, too, some blankets, man. Get you some blankets. Have the blankets that you use, of course, with your house, but get you some extra blankets where you can stack up 5 or 10 blankets. You can get them cheap. It don't have to be expensive, big, The Walmart got them $5 a pop. You add a couple of 2 of them, you stack them up. Now you got some extra warmth if you need it. You got extra cash. Hey, get you a sleeping bag. You can't hurt nothing. These are just stuff that we can stock up and have. Be prepared. You might need it to give it to another brother, somebody else. You know what I mean? You want rubber gloves. You want them to rubber. And listen, the gloves and the mask, you got to work on that.
Right. So basically, that is part one.
Right away, because you saw what happened the last time. Gloves and the mask.
Right, that is part one, and I'll just go through the list, part one and part two, some of the items that you talk about that we should put in place. Israel poor, so you might be able to get everything one time, but if piece you buy things and put on, you would definitely secure your home and your household much better. So the list of things that you'll have in the 2 videos on them. Of course, once time allow, we'll go through the second video as well. Is water, large water tanks, canned foods, crank radio and battery radio, small generators, solar power charger, a first aid kit. That is something that important that every family should have in the house, is a first aid kit, especially if you have children. Is an important thing to have. Painkillers in case you get some sort of damage and is a civil war going on in the country, that you could basically ease the pain until you could take care of it better. Antibiotic ointments, and if you have a stash of antibiotic pills that not expired, that is also something good to have. Get your prescriptions refilled. You also touch on peroxide for cuts, a water purifier, pills, and a charcoal filter for your water. Get whistles for family members if you're in trouble, because it might be a situation you might have to flee from your home and you might be traveling together. So if one might, God forbid, separate from the pack, whistles would be something good, so you could locate them and try to get to them as fast as possible. Dust masks, half-face respirators, which would be good for smoke coming from fire or for vapors. Duct tape and spray glue to seal things. Sleeping bags in case you had to be sleeping a couple nights out in the wilderness, because You know, when things go crazy, as I say, it might be a case that you might have to flee from your home. And you would have to probably sleep in the wilderness until you could get to somewhere. You understand? So these things on them is good to have. It's not nothing that far-fetched, because we Asherite brothers and sisters right next door to Trinidad and Tobago had to flee from their land. And some of them sleeping on the beach. The beaches on them all around Trinidad and Tobago. You understand? Out in the wilderness, sleeping. So having these things on them on hand is not far-fetched. It happened to them today, and tomorrow it could happen to us. We could be fleeing to another country for safety. You understand? So having these things on them in place is very important. You mentioned also rubber gloves, garbage bags, keep whatever environment you may be in clean. Garbage bags also is something good to put clothes and things in. Things that you need to gather together and move with one time. You also talk about a mop, scrubbing brush. If you're home or in a different location, I could sanitize it. A toolkit is always something that good to have. Various tools if a pipe bursts out or something go wrong with your car, you understand? Anything like that, a toolkit is always something good to have with different tools. A crank, flashlight, candles also. Candles is always something good to go, because in a situation where things drastic, you may not have no power. If you have a lamp or candles, that is always something good to have. Store some cash on hand, because at that time you don't know what might be going on with the ATMs. You don't know if they might be empty. So if you have a small amount of cash that you can move from point A to point B during a time of disaster, you and your family, that is always something good to have. Check your home securities, windows, doors, etc. Get cameras for home surveillance. Always good to put in some extra latches by your doors and your windows. Just the other day, myself and Officer Kobal and Officer Yakar was talking about that. That is something that good to have. Other than the normal locks that could get picked, it's always good to have little latches and thing to secure your home. Weapons at home to protect your family, but it must be stored away from children, because children will interfere with it and injure themselves. So it's always good to have a secure place away from children where you could secure a couple weapons in case of a home invasion, because it's perilous times we're living in. The new trend now in home invasions, if you're watching what's going on, is that the thieves on them and people that looking to breaking into your house, they're not coming in ones anymore. They're coming in groups. So you need to have things in case you hear your door banging down 3 a.m. in the morning, that you could quickly get it and basically secure your family. And it's also good to have a plan in case something like that should happen. What should be done in that time? And of course, as a general, would I mention, sisters in the school that not married, whatever you need, you should contact the priest in charge of the school, that he could get you the things that you need. That is important. He also endorsed a straight blade. It's good for everything. It have many different uses other than protecting your family in a time of emergency. You recommend the straight blade than a blade with screws what could come apart. The straight blade is the best advice from Commanding General Yahanna. Bug repellent, for you don't know what situation you might be in, and the bugs on them might increase. You don't know what season it might be, if it might be dry season or rainy season. So bug repellent is always something good to have. Keep off the centipedes and the scorpions and all these different creatures that is coming into your home to warm yourself. Also good to have repellent for things like rats and mice and things like that. In a situation like that, you would be surprised to know these things and them would breed and coming into your home, because just like you looking for food, them looking for food too. You understand? So it's important to have probably a couple traps, a storage, a poison for rats. Of course, these things and them, you have to store them away from the children on them. So just like the weapon, you gotta find some way separate, because little children might, some of them things on them now come in colored, might take it for sweets or something and go and interfere with it, and you don't want that. So these things on them should be stored away from children. Dog food for your dog during a time like that, a perilous time, if a civil war or something break out, a dog is something that important. If you know your dog, you know 2, 3 a.m. in the morning you hear it barking, you would know if it's an animal it barking behind or if it's a human being that around your house. So keeping your dog alive is important. It's a very good security tool, and depends on where it barking, you would know where the person is, if they are at the back of your house, if they are at the front of your house. So having a supply of dog food is important. And canned food for the kids, of course, anything canned is recommended by Commanding General Yahanna. But these things and them could last through floods is an important thing to have. So it's important to make the necessary preparation. I'm watching at the time here. If we're not able, I don't think we'd be able to go into part 2, but I recommend that in your spare time, you go over, prepare for the winter, part 1 and part 2. What Commanding General Yahanna put out. Just like the advice that Joseph would have given to Pharaoh, Commanding General Yahanna left advice for us as the things that he believed that we should beef up on in these perilous times that we're living in. So it's good to take that advice. Don't just let the video be on YouTube and you're not using the information. One day, you don't know, YouTube could shut down and you could lose that information. So it's important to take notes from it. Write it down. If you have a phone, you could download it on your phone. So in the event YouTube go up in smoke, you would still have it. And use the advice now and make the necessary adjustments. You understand? Make the necessary adjustments, because it's very perilous times that we're living in, and we need to be wise. We need to be proactive and take proactive steps and not reactive ones. So we're going to go into one more scripture, and we're going to close off tonight history class. As I say, tonight we went through some of the history of our forefathers, the advice that he left in time of peril. And if we apply that, it would definitely help us in this time and in harder times which prophesy to come and will come to pass. And of course, we went through some recent history, not far history, a recent video from the recent past that Commanding General Yahanna would have put out, and is important to really soak in that video, which is Prepare for the Winter, Part 1 and Part 2. So we'll close out tonight's history class. Of course, tune in to, we have classes all throughout the week, from Monday down to Sunday. Thursday is the only day that we tune in to General Mahaiman, the scripture breakdown class. But I.S.U.P.K. Trinidad and Tobago has classes throughout the week. So you could tune in 7 o'clock, Monday to Sunday, and you would get all the necessary information from all the different classes, all the different priests that just come out and do the work of the Lord. So this would be our closing scripture here. Give me the book of Psalms 37 and 18, and we're going down to 20.
Psalms chapter 37 verse 18. The Lord knoweth the day of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever.
Right, you understand? Our inheritance is going to be forever. When we King Yahweh comes back again the second time, but before he come back, this book has to be fulfilled. All these things that written in the scriptures that we don't really like to hear, all the death, all the famine, all the pestilence, these things and them must come to pass. Because in these things coming to pass lies the freedom of the children of Israel. Once this book complete, all the prophecies complete in this book, and our king come back, that will be the deliverance of the children of Israel. So these things must come to pass. Don't let no Christian pastor fool you and tell you that they could bring peace and pay your money and no weapon rag, and these things on them is foolishness. They're just taking your money that you're going to definitely need in these perilous times. Go ahead.
Verse 19. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time,
Go ahead.
and in the day of famine they shall be satisfied.
Right? In the day of famine, you're going to be satisfied. If you take the advice from the forefather Joseph as to how to be proactive and not reactive, if you take the advice from Commanding General Yahanna in the 2 videos that he put out, you understand? Prepare for the winter part 1, prepare for the winter part 2. If you go on YouTube and you're taking these videos, you download these videos, you write down the information from these videos, you're going to be satisfied in a time of famine. Go ahead.
Verse 20. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Most High shall be as the fat of the lamb. They shall consume into smoke, shall they consume away.
You understand? So if you're standing outside of this truth, outside of the I.S.U.P.K. under Commanding General Yahanna, you're not taking heed, you're not watching the times, you understand? As the Lord say, watch and pray. You understand? You're not watching the times to make the necessary adjustments. Then you're going to consume away. You understand? You're going to burn away in the wrath that He's pouring out on this earth. You understand? So it's important to take this advice. As I say, the things aforetime are written for learning. Make time to spend with the scriptures, because in the scriptures it have a lot of advice that we forefathers left for us. Because what we're going through now is nothing new. There's no new thing under the sun. This happened before, and when you go in the scriptures, it's going to show you measures that you could put in to protect your household, your family, and the nation. You understand that the Lord, that is the Lord's, which is the 12 tribes are the nation of Israel, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And that we pass the class on to Priest and Officer Shah.
Security announcement. We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding Gen.YAHANNA. No rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limit for 6 months. They are here to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves off the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to his brother or sister. There's another 6 months where the brother or sister will court each other. After the 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is the commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means 10 in Hebrew, I say, my share. 10% of every penny and piece the most I give you, give to a treasury department or teacher priest fund. Fuel offering for priests, non-mandatory, whatever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation. That will be the Feast of Purim, the 14th day of the 15th, the 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month. That will be Thursday, February the 25th, and Friday, the 26th February 2021. This you can find this in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 20 to 31. Reminder Akiam to check on social media such as I.S.U.P.K, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and material. If your brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he needs to start wearing all black, which include black boots, light shirt, light pants, light headband, or scarf. With that, we say, Imajam. Pan your Akadam, stand, star, face the east. We're going to say the Lord. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Padash, Ayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Lakwaka, Ratazaka, Ayah, Aisha, Barataza, Hawa, Ayah, Shemayim, Natan, Lanoa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Waselakno, Wakino, Aselakino, Wala, Tabianoa, Basawan, Abal, Oshinoa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Malakwa, Mahala, Watapara, Bairomium, Aman.
The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. forgive our debts,
as we forgive our debts,
as we forgive our
as
debtors.
we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the
For
kingdom,
thine is the kingdom,
the power and the
the
glory,
power and the glory,
forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it. We're going to say the Hakat, Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Basham,
Bashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Babakasha,
Babakusha,
Natan Ladawa,
Natan Nawa,
Akat,
Akak,
Akat,
Akak,
Akra,
Rapa,
Kamakala,
Kamakala,
Wakal Madawan,
Makal Manawan,
Akat,
Akak,
Lata,
Lata'a,
Amatazariam,
Hamatazariam,
Akat,
Akak,
Lahakwayam,
Lakwayam,
Amatayam,
Amatayam,
Akat,
Akak,
Ayakawat,
Ayakawat,
Atamala,
Hatamala,
Nagarishan,
Lagshan,
Basham,
Bashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Tawadaman.
Tawada Aman. The city power in English, Yahweh.
Yahweh,
In the name of
in the name of
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
please give us the
bring
power
about the power
to
the
heal
power to heal
all manner of
all
sickness
manner of sickness
and all manner of disease,
and all manner of disease,
the power to cleanse the
power to
lepers,
cleanse the lepers,
the power to raise the
power
dead,
to raise the dead,
the power against unclean spirits,
power against unclean spirits,
to cast them
to
out.
cast them out.
In the name of
In the name of
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
thank you.
thank you.
So be it.
So be it. We're going to say that blessings in Hebrew. Barak,
Barak,
Ata,
Ata,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Wama, Yakala,
Wakala,
Wa Alahayam,
Walayam,
Matazabia,
Matazabia,
GEN.YAHANNA,
Alawapiam,
Alawapiam,
Halawapiam,
Asaranyam,
Asaraniam,
Hakwat Zalianyam,
Hakwatazalianyam,
Hakwat Yalyam,
Hakwanyanyam,
Hakwat Watyam,
Hakwatiam,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Basham,
Bashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Tawadaman.
Tawada Aman. When to say the blessings, bless you Yahweh,
Bless you, Yahweh,
and
and
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
and Michael,
and Michael,
and the angels,
and the angels,
commanding General
commanding
Yahanna,
GEN.YAHANNA,
the
the
generals,
generals,
captains,
the captains,
officers,
officers,
troopers,
troopers,
and the sisters,
and the sisters.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of
in the name
Yahushai,
of Yahushai,
thank you.
thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
When they say the curses, blessed are you, Yahweh,
Blessed are you, Yahweh,
King of heaven and
King
earth,
of heaven and earth,
and all things living.
and all things living.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of
in the name
Yahushai,
of Yahushai,
listen to us now,
listen to us now,
right now.
right now.
Send evils and curses,
Send evil curses,
and punishment and destruction
and punishment and destruction
to the
to
heathen
the heathen
that speak against
that
us,
speak against us,
thy prophets,
thy prophets,
the teachers,
teachers,
the
the
princes,
princes,
the priests,
the priests,
the Israelite brothers,
Israelite brothers,
and the school.
and the school.
Send evils and curses,
Send evils and curses,
and punishment and destruction
and punishment and destruction
to the heathen,
to the heathen,
and shake loose
and shake loose
the treasure
the treasure
of the rich of
of the
Israel
rich of Israel,
that refuse to give to the
that
school,
refuse to give to the school,
force their riches
force their riches,
to enter into thy
to enter
sanctuary.
into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and
Send
curses,
evils and curses,
and punishment and
and
destruction
punishment and destruction
to the
to
Edomites,
the Edomites,
and the
and the
nations,
nation,
and their drug
and the
dealers,
drug dealers,
the court
the
system,
court system,
the prison
the
system,
prison system,
Planned Parenthood,
Planned Parenthood,
all the governments of our
all the
enemies,
governments of our enemies,
Amalek synagogues and
and
armies,
ministering of the armies,
Roman Catholic Church,
Roman Catholic Church,
the Pope,
the Pope,
Islam,
Islam,
Christianity,
Christianity,
Egyptology,
Egyptology,
militia,
militia,
Ku Klux
Ku
Klan,
Klux Klan,
Aryan Nation,
Aryan Nation,
Skinheads,
Skinhead,
Quasi-Comitazi,
Quadrimotati,
the gay
the gay
movement,
movement,
lesbian
the lesbian
movement,
movement,
spies,
spies,
workers of
workers
witchcraft,
of witchcraft,
NASA space
NASA
program,
space program,
Army,
Army,
Navy,
Navy,
Air Force,
Air Force,
Marines,
Marines,
Wall Street,
Wall Street,
open up the internet,
open up the internet,
and the
and the
airwaves,
airwaves,
cable access channel,
cable access channel,
and the radio
and the
channels.
radio channel.
Convict the spirit
Convict the spirit
of any of our
of
people
many of the people
that seek to stop
that
us
seek to stop us,
and bring swift
and bring
destruction
swift destruction
to all the
to
heathen
all the heathen
that stand in the way
that stand in our way
or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose the plagues. Let loose all the plagues. Cause them to go to and fro throughout the earth and consume them. Let the plagues shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahushai, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy words. Cause it to be known by all that is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread throughout the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you always. So be it.
We're going to say that bless Israel. Yahweh, Basham, Yahushai, Barakanawa, Shalom,
Harya,
Saparium,
Barak,
Rapha,
Magan, Agan.
Brothers and sisters in the I.S.U.P.K.
Brothers and sisters in the I.S.U.P.K.
Brothers and sisters fighting to come into the truth.
Brothers and sisters fighting to come into the truth.
Children and babies in the I.S.U.P.K.
Children and babies in the I.S.U.P.K.
Francois family.
Brown family. Zion. Wesleyan. Daniela. Jamila. Ashida. Trisha. Nima. Khadijah. Chantel. Ashida. Myelin. All the brothers and sisters in the I.S.U.P.K. All the brothers and sisters that seeking the truth. All the brothers and sisters that fighting to come into the truth. Have mercy on the destroyed of Israel. The Bawa. Alicia. Aliyah. Teresa. Joyce. All Israel.
Yeah. Basham, Yahushai, Tawada Aman.
I'm going to say it in English. Lord, in the name of Yahushai, bless us and Israel and the school. Bless. Heal. Shield. Protect. Our loved ones. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it.
Sir, brothers and sisters, the teacher, one place to Imagine Shabbat. Imagine. Barak. Yahweh Bashim Shai Brakatah.
Yahweh Bashim Shai Brakatah.
Yadimata. Sir, let's get sisters online one place salute. Imagine Shabbat. Imagine. Barak.
Yahweh Shema Latan Basham Yahushai.
Yadimata. Kasismus.